Well, well, well. This is my debut of what I would call a mini review, but you may not. I think I picked a good one to start with this 2023 Triumph 765 RS Carbon Black. Stay tuned.
Meerkat.
The funny thing is, there's a brand new, just introduced to the media, 765, which is also being called a 2023 too, but it has slightly different specs. Here's what I think. I think the specs on this bike that I'm riding here, this charcoal black one, is the same as a 2022. The manufacturing date, however, still makes it a 2023. The new ones that are being introduced with 128 horsepower, which will arrive sometime in June here at my dealership, will all be 2024 models. I know it's a little confusing. That's my best explanation at this point, and you can blame Triumph for the rest. In my previous video, I explained my method, and there's a link in the comments section here to that video. So let's get to it. This is what I use to help me decide on the bike that I'm interested in, to evaluate it just on a very short demo ride. In the previous video, I looked at 17 categories that I put in what I thought I needed for this particular bike, a middleweight naked. In this video, I'm rating the 765 in those 17 categories. Then I'm going to compare it to the scores of what I wanted earlier. So in the end, what I'm going to be doing is kind of adding the rating together with my feedback from my demo ride to give me kind of my verdict of whether this bike is for me or not. One of the most overlooked things is getting the bike out of the shop wherever you're at. Whether you get one bike or a whole bunch of bikes, it doesn't make a difference because you have to move it. So we're going to see how this 765 is to move. I'm going to move some of the other bikes first to kind of give you an idea, a comparison, okay? So this bike has a little handhold right down here that you can hang on to. It also has got a luggage rack, and it's fairly light. On a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the easiest, this is about a 9.5, I'd say. Now we'll move the Thruxton R. Okay, comes off the side stand pretty easy, not too bad, but there's not a lot of handholds here. And it has a little bit, the turning radius on the bike is a little short, so I'm going to crank it pretty good. I'd say this is about a 6. Now we're going to do the Tiger 900. Okay, now the saddlebags make it a little bit big, and it's a little top heavier than the other two bikes, but I've got a nice handhold right here on for the passenger handhold to use to get the bike. So I've put myself into a corner with this bike so I don't have a lot of room on one side. But the other part of the bike is that it's got a very good turning radius. I can actually turn it around in a 2-lane road. So it makes it kind of a one-shot deal here. Then you're done. So I'd say this was probably a good, easy 7 or 8. Now we're going to do the Moto Guzzi next. Coming off the stand, it's a heavy beast. Feels heavier, and I think it actually is heavier than the other two. So I won't make a turn till I get off of this. Now I'm putting my hip down on it as we go along to kind of keep it from falling. So it actually doesn't have a bad turning radius. It's just pretty heavy, and you're going to have to stay on the handlebars with this bike. So I'd say it's about a 5. Maybe more as you push it. Triumph. Since it's kind of in the middle of the garage, we're going to challenge it to come out and swing to the right. so it's got a shorter period to turn. I want to leave the kickstand down because I'm not familiar with it. Now there's not really a handhold here. You could reach here if you got long arms. That's uncomfortable for me. So I'm going to start cranking it as soon as I come out of the garage. It's easy off the stand. It's easy to turn. It doesn't have a great turning radius. Not as good as the Tiger. Better than the Moto Guzzi, better than the Thruxton, not as good as the Royal Enfield. So I'd say this is about an 8. Well, here we go for the demo ride. It's going to be a little shorter than I thought. The motorcycle shop just called me and said they need to have the motorcycle up there. They had a buyer, so instead of having a few more minutes to ride it on a nice sunny day, I'm going to have to take it back up right now. So we'll see what we can get out of this. And like I said, first thing you notice is the sound. She sounds pretty good to me. Got a nice sound to it. I wouldn't necessarily need to change anything about the exhaust pipe or what have you. Front brake is really strong. The back brake is a little less sensitive. On the front, you got dual 4-pot disc. They're Brembos, Stylemas, braided line, so that's about as good as you can get. Got a nice mag wheel here. It's kind of a bronze color. Your valve stems are pointed sideways, so that makes it easier to get to. I really do like that. So these brakes have a good feel to them. And I think you can thank the Brembo master cylinder. So that's a good piece, and you can adjust it in and out with this little piece over here. And same thing on the other side for the clutch. If you want to do it out, you just turn it clockwise and counterclockwise to bring it in. It's enough adjustment for me. I've got small hands, so it works pretty well. On the back, we have another Brembo brake on here, and I don't really know whether this is scrubbed in or not. It didn't have a lot of feel to it yesterday, my short ride over here. We'll see. Got a beautiful arching swing arm here. I like that. The passenger pegs, I think you can unbolt this whole piece on both sides. You do get with the bike, if you remove this piece, you can get there's a seat pad, so you can put a passenger on there, but I don't know about that. Okay, for the brakes, I'm going to give them a rating of 6 out of 6. I wanted 6, and I rate them as 6, so it's giving me exactly what I need. Like I said, I don't know if it's broken in or not. From what I can read right in here, I can see the tachometer, I can see the fuel gauge, I can read all that stuff pretty well. This has a 5-inch TFT on it, and I found the TFTs, and I'll show you when we're riding here, is it's big enough that you see everything, and I think using a dark contrast is better on it, so you can see the temperature, the fuel gauge, the temperature for the outside temperature, the temperature of the engine. This, I've got it set on a style that shows you the speed right here in RPMs. You can see the controls just for your high beam and low beam over here. Normal place for your hooter right here, and your turn signals. Some people have a problem with this switch gear over here because they get it confused with the one that scrolls up and down for the trips and things like that. There are 5 modes on this. If you want to hit the different modes, you can see that as they come up here, you use the little button to kind of scroll across. I'll do it again a little faster. So that's like the rain mode, rider mode, track mode, sport mode, and just a regular road mode. So I think that's 5 modes there. I'll probably keep it in the road mode most of the time. If I was doing a little bit of curvy road and want to get a little fast, I might switch it to the sport mode. If you're doing track days, of course, you want to do the track mode, probably be the best. There's not a lot of switch gear here. I think you pretty much hit everything already on this side. Well, before we move off of this side, there are some accessories available, and I'll talk about the accessories available at the end of the deal. But for this particular bike, I would get cruise control and I would get heated grips. I'll mention that right now, and they go right here. So they replace this top half of this switch. The wiring's already done. 4-way flashers. All the lights are LED, and I'll show you the LED in the front and the back in just a minute. The kill switch in the starter. The home button will let you set up your different riding modes here that you want, how you want them, how you want to set the bike up. There's a lot of stuff in here. So you can go in here and kind of dial up how long you want your blinkers to stay on, what things you want to see on the screen, things you don't want to see on the screen, the colors in the screen, the brightness. You can set it with a light background or a dark background. I prefer the dark background myself, but it's pretty much like most of the Triumphs. The problem I think I'm going to have with it, and we'll see when I get out to ride, is some of the fonts are pretty small, and if you're 70 years old, you may have a problem. We'll see if I do tomorrow when I ride the bike, so I don't know for sure. I think some of the smaller riding I might have trouble with, but for the most part, we're in good shape with the riding position to see the display. I don't think I wanted any smaller, that's for sure. Now this is a quick shifter. Up, yeah. And down. It's got a slipper clutch in it. As far as technology rating, I wanted a 5 for this particular bike, and I got a 5, so I'm well satisfied with that. You got some pretty good wind coming off. I think I would have a little higher, maybe a fly screen. Try that off. But the wind that's coming up is clean anyway, so that's good. The foot peg position, I'll measure it, and we'll see. You know, generally somewhere around 19.5 is what I need for a bike like this. For a touring bike, I'd want more, but for a bike, seat height from the seat to the foot peg, about 19.5. It's pretty close to get me where I can ride without my legs cramping up. I'll take some pictures of me sitting on the bike, and we'll do a comparison between this bike and some of my other bikes, so you can see. But for what I would probably use this bike for is a day ride, and being that it's a day ride, I would probably 150 to 200 miles on a day ride. That's all. So I think this is fine. The seat height's fine. The seat itself, it's going to be hard for me to tell on this short ride. But just remember, if you change the seat on the seat, like if you had an Airhawk or something like that,
That's going to raise you up a little bit, and so you're going to have a little farther down to the ground. Have a little bit more distance between the seat and the foot peg also, which might be good, but it's going to cant you forward a little bit more in the back. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? It does from my perspective anyway. You've got I would say I had weight on my handlebars. I'm setting up about as close as you can set, so it's not like it's. I think it's more comfortable in my Thruxton. I might, if it was my bike, I might raise the bars up just a little bit. I'm at a little angle. We'll see from the pictures what kind of angle that is. It shifts really easy. Suspension, I hadn't hit anything really hard, or I'm not going to have time to get a bumpy road here today. Okay, one of the things that I always want to know when I first get a motorcycle is I want to look under the seat, see how hard it is to get to the battery, and what kind of tools and what kind of space I have under there. Some bikes can be a real pain to get to under the seat. This bike isn't. It has a key right there, so you turn the key, which pops this piece right here, and that comes off. Then it has the tools right here. So it looks like I'm going to need an Allen to get this seat off. So we're going to take the one I think it's going to fit, and we're going to take the seat off and see where the battery is. I was wrong. It's a bigger one. So the good part about this is usually that first Allen that fits, it's going to fit a lot of different other parts. So we'll loosen this up, and it's a little tricky and fiddly to get out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this magnet magnet to make sure I don't drop it. All right, see what's next. Should this come right out. It's got two little hooks right here. That hook in here and hook in here. So what we've got in here is we've got the fuses, the battery, very easy to get to, okay? So we're going to leave the tools out for the time being, because the next thing we're going to look at is the front suspension. Okay, initially it doesn't look like you got a flathead screwdriver to adjust that, but actually this is a flathead screwdriver. So you can barely get it in on the clutch side, but to me it's not, I don't know, it's kind of risky. You're going to scratch things up and bugger things up. On the brake side, you're going to have to weave down through the middle of it. I think you're probably better off just with a regular flathead screwdriver to fit in here a little easier and less chances of boogering up. The good news is, like I said, you do have adjustability. The bad news is it's a little tough. So let's see what happens with the preload. On the preload on the front, it's right here, and it takes the same Allen that you used on the seat. So you just turn it the number of clicks you want. I don't have the owner's manual, so I can't tell you how many clicks is what, but each of them will have a soft, a medium setting, or solo, maybe a 2-up setting or a hard setting that you can use. So the good news is these Showa forks are adjustable, and you can kind of dial in what you want, and I had very good luck doing that with my Thruxton R. What we got here on the bottom, the back, is we have an Olin suspension here. It is also adjustable for preload, these are knuckle busters, compression, and rebound dampening. I believe, don't have the book, But I believe this is the compression, usually is at the top and the rebound's at the bottom. So usually one of the little Allen keys in your book, you should be able to turn that one way or another. So this should be the rebound where the same little Allen keys there. So you should be able to turn that to the soft, medium, and hard settings. Like I said, it's not the easiest thing to get to. I think the back's not that bad to get to. I don't like adjusting the preload with this on the springs because they are knuckle busters, but the compression and rebound seem to be fairly easy to get to. You may not need to adjust those too much. Now it's time to put the seat back on. Some seats can be a little fiddly. The Tiger's a little fiddly, but this is, I think, pretty easy. Like I said, there's a couple hooks in here, so you just kind of slide it down, slide it into the hooks, then put that in. Then put your screw back in, tighten that up. And I'll do that in just a second, but I'm going to show you how to put the back seat back on. Take the screw, the Allen key that I needed for that. Tighten that back up. Slide this back in. Tools, for the tools. Pops back in. So this has a little prong here that goes into this piece. So we should just be able to slide that prong back in, push it down and click it, which I did not here. There you go. Click it, and it's back in. Bob's your uncle. To me, here's another thing that's a little unusual for me. This 2023 model has 121 horsepower. The 2024, I'm calling 2024, has 128 on the RS model. But this is where you put your oil into, but this is where you check it. So that's a little different for me. So the dipstick is right there. When we're talking about easy use, the valve stones do make it easier to air up the tires and things like that. But this does not have a center stand, nor do I think it can be fitted for a center stand. But it does have mounts for the little bobs. And I'll show you the bobs when I'm talking about for you that are not familiar with it, to allow you to get your wheel up in the air, to adjust your chain, take your rear tire off. I have the little bobs here on the Thruxton R. They just merely screw into those holes there. You use a little lift like this just to get underneath it and lift it up in the air. Talk about how easy it is to get to the oil filter. The oil filter, I'll try to get a picture, is right here. The oil filter will be easy enough to get off. The horn's in the way a little bit, and this little chin piece is probably going to have to be removed to get the oil filter out. So yeah, that's a little pain in the butt. It's harder than it needs to be, I think. But on the good end, you have your fluid reservoir for your radiator right here, which is twice as easy as in most bikes, and you just get the window right in here. So that's a good part. Now, one of the differences between this bike, the 2023, this model of 2023, which is a spec to the 2022, is it has a 4.6 gallon gas tank. The new, they're calling 2023s, but I think I'm calling 2024s. The new one has 3.96 gallons. So it doesn't have quite the range of the old one. And one of the other reasons, another reason it might not have the range is the gearing. The gearing on the new 2024, I believe, is one tooth down in the front and two teeth up in the back, which makes the gearing much lower for have better mid-range and things like that. But you may lose a little bit of your top speed, but you may be a little bit faster in a quarter mile, or just when you're just riding around. These are excellent tires. These are the Pirelli Diablo Supercorsa V3s, and these are very, very good tires. They're very sticky, and you wouldn't need to replace these to go to a track day or do some sport riding. However, after about 2,500 miles of that, you probably are going to have to replace it, because I believe these are about a 2,500 to 3,000 mile tire. So for me, I'd rather have a little less sticky tire, a little bit better rain tire, and one that will last a little bit longer. So if I had this bike, I'd probably use these until they wore out, and maybe put some Road 6s or something on there. Okay, in this particular 2023 model, it has I think it has dual cats. There's one underneath the motor, and I think there's one in this. It has pretty good sound, okay? But you have a 3-into-1 up here. And the part that I don't like about this is this front fender doesn't come down far enough, you see. So it's going to allow spray onto this pipes and the radiator. I think I'd get a fender extender, much like I have over here. If you look on the Tiger, I got a fender extender, and it works really well for keeping the muck off of the radiators and off of the triple pipes.
For me, the weight of this bike is about ideal at 417 pounds. I wanted a number 4 there, and it's what it's rated.
Okay, I've got the lights off to kind of give you a little bit about the lighting on it. As you can see, it lights up on one side, which I'm not a big fan on the low beam. But the other part is you get the driving lights here, and sometimes we don't get those in the United States. So that's pretty cool. We'll give it the high beam and give you an idea what it looks like here. Okay, there's the high beam. Yeah, it's pretty bright. Let's take a look at the tail light here. It's not that bright. They're LED, but it doesn't look that bright. Let's do it with the quite a bit brighter with the brake light, which it should be. See the turn signals here and see. Okay, they're fairly bright. Now, one thing you're going to notice that this bike doesn't have, you can look at the switch gear right here. See the switch gear? It's not backlit. What do you mean backlit? For those folks that don't know what I mean backlit, you can see on this Tiger over here that the switches are backlit, so you can see all the functions. That's not a showstopper for this bike, but it's just that would be a nice to have piece. I told you we were doing MSRPs and things for the 2024 model, the new model. So if you got the Carnival red one, that adds $250 to it, so that would give you $12,845. The Silver Ice would be $12,595. If you wanted the Cosmic Yellow, you would be $12,845. That's another $250. I was wanting MSRP between $10,000 and $15,000. This $12,845 is right inside that window, so good score. You know, you can add some accessory if you want. You can go with the Inspiration package, but I prefer to go just to buy mine kind of a la carte. And some of the accessories I want, so I just go into this category here and choose. Choose a tank bag, a quick release pack, heated hand grips, cruise control, front brake reservoir, and a fly screen. So my my price would be $14,133. Looking at it, I figured out of the ideal bike that I wanted for this naked bike,
is a score of 79. I got 75, which is 95% what I really needed, which is well above the 90%. I was a little bit down on the torque. I'd like to have a little bit more torque. I was a little bit up on horsepower. I don't need quite as much horsepower. The ease to move, I think if I had a handhold, it'd make it a little bit easier to move. And I had kind of unrealistic expectations on the tires. Congratulations to Joseph, who did buy this very bike as soon as I brought it in. So congratulations, Joseph. Would I buy this Triumph Street Triple RS 765? Oh yeah, I would. Certainly would. Thank you very much. Bye. I wanted to thank my friends at the Triumph Indian and Boise of Boise for loaning me this motorcycle. Thanks, guys. Join me and my friends at Flat Cap Cafe Racer for riding and racing. Please subscribe.